What's up, everybody? So I'd say this is the first official episode of your dad's sports stream, as well as I'll be doing video game commentary, as well as sports commentary on this channel, on Twitch, YouTube, and uploading audio onto Spotify for podcast listeners. A little bit about myself. I am just a hobbyist for games, sport ball games, and video games, and it's fun to start a conversation online about those things. So today I'll be just talking about some sports news, as well as just things upcoming on my schedule for different talking points and whatnot. So we're going to start off with something actually I was talking about on my Twitch stream last night, which was Robert Sarver, the former owner for the Suns, and now is on the board of governors for the Suns, so still a part of the Suns organization, but might not be after this. So here's a little clip. This is a report that came out from ESPN, and this was November 4th, so this was yesterday during the day. So let's listen to this report.
NBA Finals. The Phoenix Suns began this season as defending Western Conference champions. A team riding high with the veteran presence of all-time great Chris Paul, a young star in Devin Booker, a top coach in Monty Williams, and reigning Executive of the Year, James Jones. But an ESPN investigation has revealed that the Suns' success on the court has emerged alongside a sometimes toxic and hostile workplace under majority owner Robert Sarver. More than 70 current and former employees interviewed by ESPN recounted conduct by Sarver they felt was inappropriate and misogynistic, including the use of the N-word and lewd comments made during staff meetings. Former Suns head coach Earl Watson told ESPN that Sarver once used the slur after a game. "You know, why does Draymond Green get to run up the court and say N-word?" Sarver, who is white, allegedly said, repeating the N-word several times in a row. "You can't say that," Watson, who is black and Hispanic, told Sarver. "Why?" Sarver replied. "Draymond Green says N-word." "You can't expletive say that," Watson said again. Sarver denied he used the N-word through his legal team, saying, "This is absolutely untrue." Sarver said he talked with a Suns player who had received a technical foul during the game for using the N-word, questioning why he had received a technical when other players who say it do not. The player, through his agent, told ESPN that he does not recall speaking to Sarver that night. "I've never called anyone or any group of people the N-word, or referred to anyone or any group of people by the N-word, either verbally or in writing." Multiple Suns employees also recounted inappropriate conduct from Sarver, such as him once passing around a picture of his wife in a bikini to employees and speaking about sex with his wife. "We're passing it around like a hot potato. Like, what in the hell are we supposed to do with this? That was just, one early glimpse at the man." Sarver, through his legal team, told ESPN the moment has been twisted into something more nefarious than it was, and that he has never discussed his sex life in the office. "A retailer sent my wife and me a sample along with a brochure, and I took a picture of her in the sample. I took the brochure and picture of her and gave it to the people at the Suns in charge of overseeing merchandise with the message, 'Here's the catalog, this is what the swimsuit looks like, and if you have any interest in carrying this line in the team shop, then here's the number to call.'" Multiple current and former employees also told ESPN about conduct by other members of the Suns leadership team that they felt contributed to the work environment. While none said Sarver was involved in those incidents, many felt that Sarver's own conduct contributed to a culture that affected how some other managers within the organization treated their employees. They said they don't know how no one has ever been held accountable. If the commissioner comes in and investigates to see what the expletive is going on in Phoenix, he would be appalled. Jason Rowley, president and CEO of the Suns, defended Sarver. This story is completely outrageous and false. It doesn't represent at all the Robert Sarver I've worked alongside of for 15 years. He's not a racist and he's not a sexist.
All right, so that was a video made by ESPN, and they're the ones who came out with this report yesterday. So as you can see, just like absolutely fucked up. It gives me flashbacks to previous Clippers owner, Donald Sterling, who had similar pretty fucked up views on race, black people in general. And he eventually got kicked out of the league. I mean, he was forced to sell the team, and now the Clippers are owned by previous Microsoft co-founder Steve Ballmer. And now here we have another one. And this, again, like I said on my stream yesterday, this is just 2 weeks after John Gruden, head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, for the past 2 or 3 years. He resigned after saying some pretty fucked up things about a black players union leader, as well as things like very homophobic things about the NFL commissioner Roger Goodell, using the F word, clueless anti-football pussy, that type of stuff, things about President Barack Obama. Not too long ago, this happened, I think 2 weeks ago, and now we have this. Obviously, I feel so bad for the ex-head coach of the Suns, Earl Watson. I mean, he was there for a lot of the shitty years, and the Suns' recent history. I mean, before they got Chris Paul, I mean, the Suns were never in any contention for anything. Never made the playoffs. I think in the last, since 2000, since they had Steve Nash, they've been to the playoffs, I think, once. Earl Watson was there. He was like the fourth head coach they had in basically 4 years, and they've had like 6 head coaches in the last 7 years. So just not a good environment for a head coach. And here Earl Watson comes in, black and Hispanic. I'm sure this, it's hard enough as a coach of color to get a job in the NBA. And here he comes in, and the owner of the team, Robert Sarver, comes in and says this stuff, and it's just so fucked up. I feel bad for Earl Watson. I'm glad he's out of there. And on to bigger and better things. Let's see, what is Earl Watson doing? I think he's still in the NBA. Is he front office? Let's see. Looks like... What is he doing recently? I'm glad he gets to come out and talk about all this stuff, because I'm sure he had to keep it inside and not talk about it because for fear of not being able to get hired again. Good for Earl Watson being able to come out and expose Robert Sarver like this. If you're a white person, do not say the N-word. First of all, that should be very obvious to every white person out there. Obviously not, though. I guess a lot of these owners head coaches just think they can do whatever they want. I'm sure they have millions and billions of dollars and think they can just say whatever they want. So, yeah, I mean, goes back to like the lack of diversity in these leagues, the NBA, the NFL. Um, I you wouldn't have this type of stuff if there were more, owners, head coaches, with diverse backgrounds, ethnicities. Um, so yeah, that's just sad. So we'll see. Apparently, the NBA is going to be doing an investigation on Robert Sarver. I'm sure he's going to push back legally with his legal team, as you heard. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if it leads to the same result as the Donald Sterling. But also tough for the Suns. I mean, they surprised everyone last year by going from basically a bottom tier team to going to the championship, and they're not off to the best start. You can see, they're doing a little bit better. They had a little rough start, but they're on a 3-game winning streak. Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul, how old is he? He's getting up there. So they only have a few more years probably of him being at like peak. So it started in 2005, so that's like 16 years. And he's 36, so he's LeBron's age. So they only have probably, I'd say 3 more years, 2 more years probably of him being like peak Chris Paul. But he was always hurt, so I hope they can bounce out of this. I hope they get back to the playoffs. And here, interesting, I saw this on NBC Sports here. So the Robert Sarver incident obviously got around with the whole Draymond thing. So it looks like a reporter asked Draymond about this. So let's listen to this soundbite.
And then my phone started blowing up. It was blowing up, but I was running a little late for taking her to school, so we just had to go. But yeah, soft Thursday morning, just trying to mind my business, man. That's all. It's crazy. Crazy allegations. Very crazy allegations. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But pretty serious allegations. So it's interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. I got fined. So interesting.
You got fined.
What's up, dog?
Did you get fined that instance? I'm trying to remember. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh,
The thing on
God,
TNT?
is that-
I got fined on TNT,
Okay.
but you know.
Oh, look at this kid.
When you hear someone make a statement, you can't just be like, that's the statement. And that's it. There's always more to the story. Word traveled around this league like wildfire, so it may not have been my first time hearing the story yesterday, but that's neither here nor there.
So, yeah, there you go, Draymond Green. I'm surprised he didn't go into it more. Man, Draymond usually is. He does not mince his words. But I mean, it sounds like it's funny. He's not. It doesn't seem like he's surprised. I'm sure, like he said, word gets around the league. Obviously players hear things, and it's just coming out into the light. All the players know this shit goes on in the background, with the owners, just degrading their, it goes back to just the whole mentality of like owners degrading their players to just assets. They just own these people, but they don't. I mean, it's a player-driven league, which is what everyone loves about the NBA. To some extent, compared to the NFL, which NFL, has gotten a lot of criticism from LeBron about just being more of owner-driven league, so hopefully, the media, ESPN can keep exposing these closeted racist owners, and kind of just purge this from sports, and I agree with a lot of people, that say sports shouldn't be political, but then maybe owners should stop being racist. And then you can truly just focus on basketball at that point. If you really want to, but I mean, hey, throwback to Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all these players who are outspoken politically, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, good on them, man. They have voices and they're super smart dudes. Have at it, I say. So we'll switch gears a little bit to a kind of a first topic I want to talk about. Is the Trailblazers. So there's a lot of talk this offseason, about Damian Lillard. They play tonight. They play the Pacers. Pacers are 3-6. Not great, but the Pacers have beaten some good teams. I think they're. Why can't I click on the Pacers? Let's see how the Pacers are doing. Beat the Knicks. Knicks are a good team. Lost. Oh, they beat the Wizards in overtime. But all their games have been close. I mean, they're a good team. They got Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not sure. Is he still hurt? Let's look that up just real quick, because he is their centerpiece. I mean, the Bucks have to be kicking themselves. So Malcolm Brogdon, he got drafted, in 2016 by the Bucks, and he didn't put up crazy good numbers, but he was Rookie of the Year, and he's just gone up since then. Averaging 22 points on, let's see, his 3-point percentage has dropped, but before, last year he was 388 off 3-point percentage. I mean, that's really good. And so he's their centerpiece along with Domantas Sabonis, who last year was an all-star. They have good pieces. So here's the Blazers. Here's the Blazers situation. Is they're 3-5. And which is 11th, as you can see. They're behind the Wolves, the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard, behind the Kings. Actually, the Kings have been doing decently. But here's the kicker for the Blazers is all this trade talk with Damian Lillard, on the offseason. Obviously, the Blazers have not... the last, 8 years since they've had Lillard, have not lived up to expectations. I think the best team that they had was probably when Lillard was a little bit newer to the league, but he was coming into his own. Was when they had LaMarcus Aldridge. They had LaMarcus Aldridge. They had Nick Batum. They had Lillard, and they had a few other really good players. It was a good team, and they were first in the league. That was actually, I think, the first that was the first time the Warriors dynasty won that year. But I think, they lost. The Blazers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies that season, and in the playoffs they lost. And since then, they've kind of just been middle of the pack. They haven't been amazing, and they haven't been the worst. And that kind of goes to the point of what's the move? What's the move here for Damian Lillard, and what's the move here for the Blazers? So they lost to the Cavs a few nights ago. And the Cavs, good young team, but the Blazers should be winning these games. Let's see, last season, 2020-2021, finished 6th. That's okay. They lost, in like the first round or something. And then the previous season, 35, they were 8th previous season. So this was 2018-2019. They lost to the Warriors. But they got to the Western Conference Finals. That was, I think, the farthest they've been in Lillard's tenure. But again, you see, they finished 3rd, lost in the first round versus the Pelicans. Here you go, finished 8th, and in 2016-2017, lost first round. Finished 5th, lost in the second round. This is when they had, this was the team right here. They had Will Barton, they had Aaron Aflalo, LaMarcus Aldridge, Chris Kaman, Damian Lillard, Robin Lopez, Wesley Matthews was like killing it. He was actually, he was a top scoring player. I mean, he had 15 points. Dame had 21. LaMarcus was an all-star at that point. He's fallen off a little bit. I mean, he's a lot older now. And they were first. Ended with the best record in the West, and they lost in the first round of the Memphis Grizzlies. So, as you can see, there's a trend here where even when they do have stacked team, they're just not able to get